Just moments ago, we witnessed something that will be etched in American history for years to come. A debate that wasn't just about policies or talking points. It was about two starkly different visions for the future of this country. On one side, Donald Trump, the man who promises a return to greatness, the self-proclaimed savior of a nation. On the other, Kamala Harris, a woman whose resolve and compassion drive her to push for equality, justice, and a new chapter for America. But this wasn't just a debate of ideologies. It was personal. It was combative. It was a direct clash between the past and the future. As both candidates walked onto that stage, shaking hands, you could feel the tension. Not just in the room, but across the country, as millions of Americans watched, waiting to see whose message would resonate with them. Tonight, we break down the defining moments of this debate, from the first fiery exchange on the economy, to the emotionally charged discussion on abortion rights, to Trump's unrelenting defense of his controversial record. This debate was nothing short of an all-out brawl for the soul of America. The first question of the night went straight to the heart of what matters most to many Americans: the economy. The moderator asked both candidates, "Do you believe that Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?" Kamala Harris was the first to respond. Her answer was clear and direct. No, they are not. She spoke of building an opportunity economy, pledging to address the rising cost of housing and helping young families. She expressed her passion for small businesses, painting a vision of a future where entrepreneurship thrives. But, as expected, Harris didn't stop there. She pivoted, contrasting herself with her opponent in a way only a seasoned prosecutor could. Harris accused Trump of offering nothing but the same failed policies of the past: tax cuts for the rich, leaving ordinary Americans to foot the bill. She claimed that if Trump were re-elected, Americans would face a Trump sales tax on everyday goods. This wasn't just a jab, it was a calculated blow designed to highlight the inequities she claims Trump's policies have fostered. Trump's response? Vintage Trump. He promised tariffs, lots of them. China in particular was in his crosshairs as he boasted about the billions in revenue from tariffs during his presidency. But here's the twist. Rather than staying on the economy, Trump immediately pivoted to immigration, a topic he seems to believe is his strong suit. He spoke about other countries, paying us back for what we've done for the world, but offered little in terms of concrete solutions for the average American struggling with inflation. Harris wasn't done. She fired back, reminding voters that Trump left the country with the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. Her aim was sharp. Trump's administration didn't just mismanage the economy, it left the country in chaos. The debate over economic policy wasn't over. Harris continued her assault, citing no fewer than 16 Nobel Prize-winning economists who have criticized Trump's proposed economic plans. According to them, his plan would likely lead to a recession. Harris claimed that Trump has no plan for the future and is more focused on defending himself than helping the American people. Trump, never one to back down, hit back with his own counterpunch. He claimed that economics professors thought his plan was brilliant, and he branded it as a surefire way to bring prosperity back to the U.S. However, for voters still recovering from the fallout of the COVID-19 pandemic, these promises likely felt hollow. One of Trump's boldest claims came next. He said, "We have inflation at the worst in our nation's history." This statement, though forceful, was quickly debunked. Yes, inflation hit 9.1% in June 2022, but that wasn't the worst in U.S. history. Harris seized the opportunity, mentioning how the Biden administration had brought inflation down to 3.3% by May 2024. Trump's focus on fear was evident, but Harris's methodical use of data began to paint him as out of touch with economic reality. Next came the turning point of the debate: abortion rights. This was a topic where Harris displayed the full weight of her prosecutorial skills, and it was here that the debate shifted from a policy discussion to a deeply emotional and personal one. The moderator pressed Trump on his stance, asking him to clarify his position on abortion. Trump's response was a series of claims about Democrats wanting to allow abortions in the 9th month, claims that have long been discredited. He tried to paint Harris and her vice presidential pick, Tim Walz, as radical on the issue. But then came Harris's response, a moment that will likely be replayed again and again. Harris didn't just respond with facts and statistics, though she had plenty of those. She got personal. Her voice rising, she talked about the women she's met, women who were suffering from a miscarriage, and being denied care in an emergency room because healthcare providers feared legal repercussions. Her voice cracked as she spoke of women bleeding out back in a car in a parking lot because they couldn't get an abortion. This was not a political talking point. This was a visceral, heart-wrenching plea to the American people. As the debate turned back to immigration, the tone shifted once again. Harris, touting her work prosecuting smugglers, pointed the finger at Trump, blaming him for tanking a bipartisan border security bill. She accused him of using the immigration crisis as a political tool rather than trying to solve the problem. But then Trump, in classic fashion, veered into unexpected territory. He claimed, without evidence, that migrants were eating house pets in Springfield, Ohio. "They're eating the dogs," Trump said, his voice rising. The claim was immediately met with pushback from the moderator, who pointed out there was no evidence of this. "Talk about extreme," Harris quipped, her frustration with Trump's theatrics evident. Harris didn't hold back when it came to Trump's legal troubles. She pointedly reminded the audience of Trump's various indictments for national security crimes, economic crimes, and election interference. Trump's response? The same refrain he's used time and again, that the legal cases against him are fake and a weaponization of the justice system. This exchange was a critical moment. Harris was able to draw Trump into a defensive position, forcing him to once again defend his character rather than focus on policy. It was a tactical move, one that had clearly been prepared to show undecided voters Trump's vulnerability on the legal front. Foreign policy made its debut late in the debate, with Harris and Trump sparring over the Israel-Gaza conflict. Harris reiterated her belief in a two-state solution and called for an immediate ceasefire, framing her response as both humanitarian and pragmatic. Trump, on the other hand, made a bold, almost apocalyptic claim that Israel won't exist in 2 years if Harris wins the presidency. This was a stark example of the fear-mongering that has become a cornerstone of Trump's rhetoric. He presented himself as the ultimate protector of Israel, while Harris highlighted her diplomatic efforts on the world stage, including her meeting with Ukrainian President Zelensky. But it wasn't just Israel on the table. Harris brought up Trump's handling of the Afghanistan withdrawal, attempting to tie him to the chaos that ensued. Trump, in turn, blamed the Biden administration for mishandling what he called a good deal with the Taliban, going so far as to recount his own dealings with Taliban leaders. As the debate wound down, the candidates delivered their final pitches to the American people. Harris looked directly into the camera, her voice steady, and called for unity. "Let's turn the page," she said, in a tone that conveyed both exasperation and hope. Her message was simple. Americans deserve solutions, not endless divisiveness. Trump, as expected, struck a more aggressive tone. He painted Harris as a radical bent on defunding the police and taking away guns, claims Harris swiftly denied. She emphasized her support for responsible gun ownership, even revealing that she, herself, owns a gun for personal safety. In Trump's final moments, he returned to his long-standing campaign promise to repeal and replace Obamacare, though, as has often been the case, he offered few details on what that plan would look like. And with that, the debate came to a close. Two visions of America, laid bare for the country to see. Kamala Harris, steady and resolute, calling for a future built on compassion, opportunity, and unity. And Donald Trump, brash and combative, doubling down on his record and offering more of the same. As the dust settles from this monumental debate, the real question remains, who won? For some, Trump's forceful rhetoric, confidence, and familiar talking points will resonate, especially with those who long for a return to his version of America's greatness. His ability to dominate the stage, even with claims lacking in evidence, speaks to the power of his charisma and connection with his base. But did he offer real solutions? Did he provide a clear path forward for the average American? That's up for debate. On the other hand, Kamala Harris showed herself as a formidable opponent, balancing empathy with cold, hard facts. Her ability to remain calm under pressure and her poignant moments, particularly on abortion rights, could win her key support among undecided voters and energize her base. She was prepared, detailed, and determined to paint a picture of a future where government works for everyone, not just the wealthy or powerful. But as we know, debates aren't won on stage alone. They're won in the court of public opinion. The media spin, the next day's headlines, and social media reactions will all shape how Americans view this debate in the days and weeks to come. The question now is, will this debate change the trajectory of the race, Will it sway undecided voters? Or will it simply reinforce the divide that already exists in America? As we head into the final stretch of this election, one thing is clear. This is not just a battle between two individuals. It's a battle for the very soul of this nation. And after tonight, the stakes couldn't be higher. Now, we want to hear from you. What moment from the debate stood out the most to you? Do you think this debate will shift the election in either direction? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more in-depth analysis on the 2024 presidential election.